Good evening. Good evening or good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in, assuming everyone's in the US, which I don't know if I can assume that, but hello, welcome. Just letting everybody come in. Hi. Yes, I love a group of men. It's great. Fun. Good energy.
Hey, everybody.
Awesome. Great. Perfect. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Thornton. Excited to be with you all today. Zach White is honestly one of the best humans, I think, that walks the planet. So you're lucky to have him as your coach. And yeah, I'm thankful that I get to call him a friend and a colleague. And yeah, we're always in communication, kind of what everybody's doing a little bit. So excited to offer you lots of value today. So let's get you guys nice and centered just to start out with. I think Zach starts with a similar exercise, but mine might sound a little different. So, but if you're ready, you can go ahead and get nice comfy, nice and cozy. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Good. And out through your mouth. Awesome. Another nice deep breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth. Beautiful. So quick self-esteem check. Scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst you've ever felt, and 10 being the best you've ever felt. How are you feeling today? If you're a 1 today, raise your hand. 2 today, raise your hand. 3 today, raise your hand. 4 today, raise your hand. 5 today, raise your hand. 6 today, raise your hand. 7 today, raise your hand. 8 today, raise your hand. 9 today, raise your hand. 10 today, raise your hand. Beautiful. You can go ahead and lower your hands. Another nice deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Good. And then do a quick body scan. So if you were to name 4 feelings that you're feeling in your body right now, what 4 feelings can you feel? When you have all 4 feelings, you can go ahead and raise your hand. Beautiful. Go ahead and lower your hands. And one more nice deep breath in and out. Something I always like to add is remembering that nothing in the past exists and nothing in the future exists. Just here and now. And this time, this space is here just for you. So kind of asking yourself, what questions can you ask today that will support your path the most, get you the most value today? And trusting that it's already done just by your setting that intention for yourself. Good. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and come on back. And before we jump into getting you that value today, would love to hear some celebrations. So what are you guys celebrating today? You can go ahead and just take yourself off mute and we'll popcorn around.
I can first volunteer since Ole is speaking up. So yeah, so few things, and I'm continuing on my diets and exercise routines, and I'm continuing getting some healthy weight loss, and it's actually hitting my goal of 175 pounds that I set out for. This a goal that's been set for over half a year ago. And it was overall, I've lost close to 30 pounds now. And
congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have this nice little graph that I track my weight that I showed to the group before. And then also, I did, also in my company, also did some healthy, courageous thing to try to speak up for my team and the situation, and I think those yeah, great stuff that I've done. But at the same time, I do have a lot of distraction and worries happening since last week and this week. So that's something maybe I brought up some question in the Q&A session.
Thanks. Awesome. Sounds good. We'll definitely get to that. Awesome, Isaac. Congratulations. Thanks for sharing with us. It's exciting. You must feel good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Who else? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. What do you want to celebrate today?
I'll go for it.
Yeah, Benjamin. Yeah.
I'm about 7 or 8 days into a 30-day challenge for 30 new unique networking contacts, and it's going well. And I'm meeting some new people, some interesting people, and hearing some interesting stories. And really, that's what it's about: listening to their stories and gaining value and adding value where I can.
That's awesome. Way to go, Benjamin. That's a great goal. And you're right. We realize that is what it's all about, right? It's just wanting to connect with human beings because we like human beings, and who can we help? Awesome. Way to go. Great. Who else?
I'll go. One of my wife's and I's goals this year was to be better about cooking and eating healthier meals. We had end of last year bought a new house, and like moving in got into kind of bad habit of eating out all the time and never having food in the house. So I think it's been going well. And this morning, I think a testament to that, I from leftover butternut squash made butternut squash pancakes, which I never would have done in the past, but that was a nice change and delicious. So.
Yum. I love that. Awesome. You guys are, what is that? Crushing comfort and creating, what is it? Someone fill me in.
Yeah. Crush comfort, create courage.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's awesome. Way to go. Great. Want to take one or two more?
I got a small one.
Melissa. Yeah.
I'm up to 20 minutes at a time on the elliptical. When I first got it, I was like, after 5 minutes, I was like, get me off of this thing. So I can do 20 minutes at a time. I'm hitting it, 2 times a week. Increasing, so
awesome.
Increasing, then I'm good. So
way to go. Hey, don't even say that it's small. That's huge. Just to do it and do it consistently that makes a big difference in our energy, just to have integrity and do what we say we're going to do, no matter what that looks like. So way to go. Awesome. One more.
I had a meeting today to reduce the number of meetings. It's one of the items I was focused on for January. So finally kicked that off today, and we had 12 meetings to cancel throughout the week. So should leave some more time for execution.
Hey, that's a great kind of meeting.
Meeting about the meetings.
Meeting about all the meetings. Hey, way to go. Enjoy that time. Sure you'll spend it wisely. Awesome. Great. Perfect. Well, I'm excited to be with you all today. Like I said, just a tiny little bit about me. Most of my training is in leadership training. I actually do hypnosis for permanent weight loss. So transformation and all sorts of tools. I know Zach mentioned to you guys about, getting past resistance and any obstacles that are coming up. That's really my area of expertise, but hit me with any question and I probably will be able to help you with that. I'm certified and trained as a coach through the International Coach Academy, which is accredited through ICF. I'm a neuro-linguistic programming trainer, hypnotherapist. I train in hypnotherapy and all those different kinds of modalities. And like I said, lots of leadership and communication training. And if there's anything that I know, it's you can't take your life out of your business or out of your work. Right. So I just want to open up the space of like any question goes here, right? If the biggest thing that's causing resistance in your life is your marriage or your relationship, then be brave and go for it. Right. If it's, your health, if it's your boss, if it's whatever, just, speak whatever's happening and let's see if we can't get you some coaching to move you past that and back into your day and crushing comfort and creating courage. Sound good? Yes.
And yes. I've excited to speak with you, Leslie, and I saw the podcast that you had with Zach and about the hypnosis, and it's pretty interesting topic. And I think it's something really pops in my mind is that I have been struggling throughout my lifetime about social anxiety, especially on stage when I do presentation. And it's very situation dependent. For this one, even the group call, there are like 10 people here. I'm mostly okay. I don't have the anxiety kicks in. Now, when that kicks in, I'm a completely different person. Yeah, it's hard to imagine, and it's only kicks in less than few seconds. switching from, you're very calm into to all the way you're complete out of yourself. You feel like your soul is out of your body. So my question is, and based on hearing your interesting topic about hypnotizing, kind of something to do with your subconscious mind, how to maintain control of yourself. Like, how do I, if possible, hypnotize myself so that I don't trigger my social anxiety, especially at that peak moment, that no matter how much I prepare myself, of course, it's better if I prepare myself with scripts and things and try to look in the mirror. But at that very moment that kicks in, I have lost control.
Yeah,
Like
I really
for
hear
that
you.
really critical presentation, I'll lose control. But normal presentation, I'm all right. So
Yep.
I'd like to hear your
Absolutely.
opinion.
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like it can be a subconscious thing, right? Because you might go in there and you might feel like, okay, I'm prepared, I got this. And then it's like you said, it's just like, then you just completely, right, lose control. So yeah, I'll give you guys and anybody who wants to make a quick, like, how to make your own hypnosis thing. And it works. I've had people who are completely terrified of flying on planes and they're on the next plane to Alaska, literally that happened or whatever. Smokers quit smoking really fast, actually, through hypnosis. Weight loss is kind of a different game because there's a lot of different things that go with weight. So yeah, ready? You got a pen and paper, and anybody else that wants to make themselves their own hypnosis script, you can give it a go, and I'll give you the quick and dirty version of this. So the first thing with hypnosis or any kind of, visualization or manifestation thing is you want to write down as detailed as you can all of the worst case scenario and your biggest fears about what it is that you don't want to be doing or that you don't want to have happen. Right. So often what we're trying to do in our lives is to avoid thinking those negative thoughts, but actually it makes it worse to not actually very clearly identify what it is that you don't want to have happen. Right. So yours, Isaac, could actually be like the fear of losing control, just even thinking about, right. You've had that experience once. So now the subconscious mind has this fear of it's going to happen again. Right. So like even, right, it's like we set ourselves up to fail subconsciously. It's not your fault. All right. So you want to write down on being like, I'm afraid I'm going to pass out. I'm afraid that people are going to laugh at me. I'm afraid that I'm not going to make it through the presentation. I'm afraid that I'm going to fail at life. Right. You want to like really list off every fear and then also painting the scenario of what it is. Like, so, I'm on stage, there's 50 people, 500 people, 5,000, like whatever is the scenario, you want to like make it as close. If you have a public speaking presentation coming up, you can make it very much like, right. So then, so you get all those details down. All right. If anyone has questions about your particular, if it's smoking or like a habit, then you want to talk about like, it's this gas station I always stop at to buy the cigarettes, right? It's, it's this type, it's this brand. It's when I'm in my car. It's when I'm blah, 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 right? You want to like, just like what every single detail of that scenario is. All right. So now you have that side, and then you want to talk about what it is that you do want to have happen. Okay. So it's like the successful completion of this scenario. So it's like, there I am. I finished the presentation. I feel so happy, right? Everyone's applauding. I said my message with grace and ease. Everyone understood what I was saying perfectly, right? And just like all the details that you can get about that. Okay, now the steps, and again, this is just quick, so you're going to have to, but it should work. Okay, you can just record it in your phone, your smartphone, whatever recording thing that you have. Right, you're going to do just, everyone's done probably some sort of meditation before, just a quick like relaxation of the body, right? You just record in there and you're like, okay, take a nice deep breath, right? And then you can go through like, relax your head, relax your arms, relax your leg, right? Just like do a quick of telling yourself to do that in the recording. Okay. And then you can count yourself down from 10 to 1, right? 10, 9, 8 to get more and more relaxed. You're writing this. Just want to make sure I'm not going too fast. You're good? Okay, cool.
I've been trying.
Yeah, I see you kind of like, I'm like, oh, what's happening to Isaac? You okay? Should I keep going? Do you have any questions? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. So then you can just go ahead and then start saying to yourself, like, so there I am, right? So here's what I recommend is a visualization of a hot air balloon. That you see a hot air balloon, and then you see that the basket has nothing in it. And then you want to, in the recording, say, see yourself passing out on stage in the hot air balloon basket. See yourself putting, people laughing at you in the hot air balloon basket, right? If you're trying to let go of a habit, see yourself throwing the cigarettes, whatever. See yourself throwing this exact brand. If it's food and you love candy, see yourself throwing all the candy and soda and right? All of the things you don't want to have happen in the hot air balloon basket. Okay, then you're going to imagine that you let the hot air balloon basket float away. Like you can pull the sandbags off that might have been keeping it down, let it go up. Okay, until it disappears. All right. And then you can have a mantra that's just kind of like, I am free from that fear now and forever. Right. And then the next thing is like, okay, now you're free of it. You jump around, you dance, you sing, right? And then you just want to say, now look at what's opening up for you. And then that's when you put into the script, basically saying like, see yourself as the successful completion of your finishing that talk on stage. How good it felt to really say what everyone needed to hear, right? So then you just make that really nice. And then you count yourself back up, right? 1 to 10, and then alive and awake, back in the room or off to sleep. Okay, so you just record it just like that, best as you can. Don't worry about messing it up or being perfect. Okay, don't worry about having to have perfect music or anything in the background. But I recommend this for any goals that you guys have set, working for your, with Zach and on your stuff. Like this, in all my leadership training of like me being the person who's like, I'm doing everything right. Like I'm, whatever, I had to show all of these things to show that I could whatever with my leadership. And then that last, target I had to meet, and it was like right at the deadline. And it's like, when you get to that space and you're like, am I going to do it or not? Well, I used hypnosis and listened to it like several times before my last presentation to see. And like everything looked like it should have gone wrong, but things kind of miraculously fell into place. And I firmly know that it's because I did the visualization aspect of it. So it just really is that really powerful piece to add into any goal setting. So try that out and maybe do it before Thursday and let us know how you're feeling.
Okay, sure. When would you be doing this? Like, let's say
Good question. Yep, you can do it as you're falling asleep at night.
Yeah.
You can put it in headphones for best results. And as you're falling asleep at night, if you fall asleep and you don't hear everything, that's fine. Your subconscious still hears it. You can also do it first thing in the morning. And then you can't listen to it too much. So like if you want to do it while you're doing the dishes or going for a walk, you can listen then too. But as you're falling asleep at night for best results or first thing in the morning in headphones.
Okay, so maybe that falls in my question. Is it like a routine, hypnosis, like every day of the day that's right and do this and kind of make the subconscious mind to shift to a different mindset? Or
yeah, so the way that you get lasting results in the subconscious is through repetition and emotion. Okay, so when I first did hypnosis for weight loss, it was every day, for the first, I think 2 months. Okay. And then it was once a week for the rest of your life was the recommendation. Right. So it is because our brains, I'm sure Zach talks about this, like focuses on the negative and what we don't want to happen like 9 times more than we think about the positive. So we have to always make a effort to be thinking these positive thoughts. And then if you're giving it to your unconscious, and then it's that reticular activating system part of your brain. So when you go to buy a new black Honda Accord, you start seeing black Honda Accords everywhere. Right. So when you actually are putting this in your brain, then it's like, oh, you start seeing these things. Right. And it's just, they've always been there, but now you can actually pay attention to it.
I see.
Okay.
Right. Sorry, just one follow-up, because I don't want to sound skeptical, but actually I won't believe in all of what you say. It's just my anxiety on stage comes at the in the 5 minutes before presentation, and that presentation only happened once, right? There's no second trial in front of a
I
big
hear you.
audience.
I
That
absolutely.
is a very critical moment that you cannot simulate or predict. And so my concern is when that moment comes, right? So, I mean, how do I make sure that it didn't happen, right?
So yeah, I'll pause you for a second. So that 5 minute right before, that's what you're going to really want to hone in on in your
Yeah.
hypnosis script. Like
Right.
get in there and be like, it came on like a flash. I had no idea it was coming. It was 5 minutes right before. It was the worst case scenario, right? Like all those things, because that's what your mind's trying to avoid the most.
Right.
Right. So do the hypnosis. And then you're just going to have to, right? And then at a certain point, you're just going to have to try it, right? Maybe you can do a little demo in front of friends or whatever. I don't know. Start with the hypnosis and then go from there. And it's totally okay to be a skeptic, right? We're just trying things on because that's how we get results, right? See what
Okay.
happens.
Thank you.
Awesome, Isaac. Yeah, thank you. Enjoy. Is that helpful for anybody else?
Yeah, can you check the chat? I think I quickly covered like
yes.
it was like the 7 steps. If
Ooh,
people
you're
were, taking
awesome.
notes. Was that did I capture it high level for people?
Fears. Yep. Write down your fears. Write down what it looks like to be successful. Then you do a progressive when you're recording. So you can start recording, do the progressive relaxation. Yep. Imagine a hot air balloon. Yep. Which you're going to throw all the negative stuff into the hot air balloon. Then you can make a mantra, just a simple statement like something in the positive. I am free from smoking now and forever, whatever your thing is. Okay. Visualization of that success. Yep. And then count back up. Yep. Totally good. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Matthew. Awesome. Other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, totally.
Dealing with employees and unconscious bias. It's a big thing that we're dealing with nowadays. And sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. So,
No worries.
like when you work with, say, technicians and you find one fault, there's always a tendency to continue to find more faults, to always look deeper. Like coming from a military background, when someone comes in, when you go and inspect a room and you find one thing that's wrong, it tends to make you want to look deeper and almost start nitpicking. So trying to counter that and not look for things that are wrong, because if things are wrong, they need to be brought to the surface and discussed and coached through, but not to like overemphasize or look deeper at that one person than at every other person on the team.
Yeah, really good. And I really, first of all, want to just acknowledge you for like having the amount of self-awareness to be like, this could be my thing of going down that rabbit hole of looking for what's wrong. Right. And like your commitment to wanting to be a good employer or boss or however you describe yourself, like that's awesome in and of itself. A lot of leaders don't do that. So way to go. So I think this is a really great thing. So I have a couple of thoughts on that. The first thing, do you have an exact scenario? Like, so yesterday I went in and I saw this and this is what happened. And do you have anything like that as an example?
Well, I'll just bring, no one knows the employee, so I can't speak to specifics. He often takes trips out of town on the weekends, and then on that Monday he'll be late coming in, sitting, all right, I got stuck in traffic, had an anxiety attack, I left too late, and he's typically late coming in that Monday. And then like throughout the week he'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be like 15 minutes late because I can't find parking. So I tend to, look at his time card more stringently than everybody else's, because I want to make sure, hey, if he is coming in 15 minutes late, is he putting that on a time card, things like that, which leads me to find more things. And then I speak to his lead and say, hey, how's this person doing? Asking specifically about that person. When in our field of work, our schedules can be flexible as long as you just let us know. And most people do let us know, hey, I'm going to be late because I have to go to the post office. And since we're working a 12-hour shift, not going to be able to get to it after lunch, after work.
Yeah.
And then, so we give that leniency, but then this person is upset because he feels like he isn't getting the leniency. Where I broke it down to him, what if you make plans ahead of time to, hey, come into work an hour late because you're doing something or something like that. But
Yeah, really good. I got it. Has anyone here ever heard about or read any of Jocko Willink's books? Yes. Okay. Some people, like, it's called Extreme Ownership or whatever, something like that. One of the things that I remember from that book is he was talking about like he went in and he was looking at how one of the, whatever troops were working or however, and the guy had a really strict policy about no cell phones in the morning meetings. And everybody, he was just like crazy about this, like no cell phones, whatever. And then when it came to like doing the tasks that were necessary to do during the day, they didn't really have that much integrity about getting it done. Right. And so Jocko asked the lieutenant or whatever, like, what's the deal with the cell phone policy? And he was like, there's no reason they should have a cell phone, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, what if they have an emergency or something? And he's just like, whatever. So the point he was trying to drive home is that as a leader, right, there's a certain things that we want to, like, it's kind of like you want to put your emphasis on the things that really matter versus the things that maybe it's like, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we want to get everybody to cooperate over here, right, then we're going to kind of ease up on, some of these things, which I can hear that you do have a flexibility, but with this person, it doesn't really seem as much as that. Like, that's why I wanted to ask of the actual thing. Like, it feels like you would probably be a pretty fair boss, but this is like, sounds like it's more of a communication issue with him, right? Of like, he's going away, but then like the little lies or whatever. And it's just like, it's just lacking integrity. So,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, correct. And just him not owning it.
Exactly.
Really, like he becomes a lot of excuses. And if you just own it, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
you can't make anyone own anything. And
That's
it isn't
right.
Derek just asked, this isn't a remote work. We do physical testing, so we need to have people physically on site. When people are late, there's delays in tests, which can push tests to the next day, which can eventually stack up and then actually end up delaying start of production for any of our new vehicles coming out.
Definitely. So there's a couple different ways, so number one, do you want him on your team? Like, does he offer a lot of value? Is he helpful? Do you want him there?
That is a huge question right now because
Okay.
I brought up like doing semi-annual reviews and everything last time around because that's just the season we're in right now. And the question was brought up, okay, if I had a chance to rehire him, knowing everything I know, would I still do it? And the answer right now is no. But also we are so shorthanded and it's really hard to find people to move to California right now for an in-person work. So
yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like we really can't afford to. So that's why I'm trying to put the extra time into to save him. Kind of.
Definitely. I hear you. So it's kind of like a yes and, like, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to hire him. And this is the situation we're in. And Ben, I saw your hand, just 1 second. Do you meet with your team one-on-one at all? Okay. How often do you do that?
Every 2 weeks, I have a half-hour one-on-one. And then also if they ever need to talk to me, they can just grab time on my schedule. Casual walkthroughs in the different labs and different shops, talking to people daily. But I actually have a physical scheduled 30-minute one-on-one with all 20 of my employees every other week.
Awesome. Perfect. And so, and I don't know what your talks with him recently have looked like, but I always go for like just a real honest conversation, like, hey, it's kind of like coming from that place of like caring about that human being. So it's like, we have to put all of our like annoyances of what they've been doing aside and actually like just choose to care about what's going on for them. So feedback sandwich of like, you're great at this, you're great at that, we love this about, right? Like have that positive stuff first. And, you know, I do want to ask you, and like, you want to just make it so safe for him to be able to just share the full truth, you know, of what it is that's going on, of like, so I've noticed that, you know, you take, you know, the weekend off, which is totally fine. You know that I believe that we should all take time and be with our family, like, blah, blah, you know what I mean? Like just really, and I just noticed that after those days, you know, you're coming in a little bit later. And I know that you said you had an anxiety attack and blah, blah, but I just really want to check in with you. Like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? You know, are you liking the work that you're doing? Like just something that just makes it that really safe environment for him to just be like, yeah, well, you know, there's this and there's that, right? It's just like creating that safety for them to tell you all the aspects of the truth, but you need to just really maintain the, like, I do care about you and I'm here for you to succeed. So if you can create that kind of environment with that person and they are sharing the stuff and you get to be that person for them that cares and can kind of strategize, then after that, you get to say like, you know, because it's really important that we are on time because of this floor time, and right. And they're more likely at that point to say like, yeah, I get that. So it's like, so listen, like, I do need you to be here on time and I want you to have whatever time that you need to take care of yourself. So, you know, what can we do so that both of our needs get met here? You know, it's like, and then kind of like you're problem solving together to make a better. So as I say that, how does that land? Do you feel like that's a kind of conversation you could have with him?
It is conversations I have had with them in the past,
got it.
and then you'll see an improvement, and then it'll drop back off again, and then I'll have the conversation with them again. So I've had to go to HR route and do written warnings, and then performance improvement plans and things like that. But
definitely. So obviously at some point, you know, you kind of got to make a judgment call of when it's, or do your people need more support? Is there any kind of something, you know, can he, like, I don't know, is there someone else on the team he can talk to on a regular basis to keep him in that space? Or, you know, is it kind of time to let him go? Does he have emotional issues? Do you need to tell him that he needs to get a therapist? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and he does have a direct lead that he can speak to more frequently, and he's paired up with a senior technician that's with him throughout his whole work schedule that he can speak to. So it just depends on if he's comfortable enough speaking to them. So,
okay.
but thank you.
Yeah, so maybe wanting to, like, I don't know, like mandate something, like he has to talk to this person this amount, or you check in with those people that he's talking to and see how, like, what their thing is, you know. And then also, is it worth the energy expenditure to hang on to him versus doing the extra work of hiring somebody else, which I know that can be a lot. Ben, did you have something you wanted to offer there?
Yeah, it's and I want to get your feedback, Leslie, from your experience. Is there maybe an element of self-fulfilling prophecy where it's a spiral? I'll give a very basic example. When I was in the factory, a lot of people would say, oh, that fork truck driver, watch out for him. He's a terrible driver. Whether he's a terrible driver or not, I think is irrelevant, but he made mistakes because everybody had this impression of him that he made a mistake, or if he did make a mistake, it was very elevated. Oh, he's a terrible driver. He made a mistake. And then it became this prophecy of he ended up being a terrible driver. Whether he was to start with or not, I don't know. And how do we get past that self-fulfilling spiral of going downward and make it something positive?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think I think it can go two ways. Okay, Luciano, you got something. I'm just going to say something really quick is, you know, because that's kind of, Tony, what you were saying at first was like, is this a me thing? My sense is for you that if it's not happening with every employee, that it could be more of like, I can trust myself that this person isn't meeting that expectation versus let me look at myself. You know what I mean? But that's nuance, like something, you know, for yourself. Like, is it more like I can trust myself that this isn't just standing up to par here or like, you know, it's not making the thing happen versus you know, is this a me thing, you know? Yeah, go ahead, Luciano.
No, just a couple comments here. First, Isaac, that his first speech here. Isaac, I have the same issue. Okay, we can share how to handle. So, Tony, relate to the case that you mentioned. I think I have several cases, you know, similar that we were seeing, and we most of time the first, let's say, the first impression, right, that we have, the first, let's say, is that there's some lack of let's say, integrity or something like this on the person. But sometimes, you know, some cases, let's say, I always compare process and people, right? Sometimes you have a good people and bad process. I have one case that the guys are not present in meetings, are not all my team were complaining about him. But when I look what the guys was assigned to do was 20, let's say 20 stuff. So there is no way, you know, a person that can put focus on type of, I don't know if this is the situation. Just my point here is just sometimes we need to look down, you know, on the process and really to see if you don't have a bad process in place here that is, you know, driving that type of behavior, and knowing the people, of course. You know, I think that's the most key. Talk with people openly, that if you create a trust, they will open. I have other case that was not like this, but they was very open when you create a trust, and you decide what is the best for everyone, so that win-win game. So that's just, I think, the most, let's say, the common ground that we need to find for the company, for, you know, for us, for the project, for the people as well.
Yeah, appreciate that, Luciano. And the other thing is, like, if your normal way of going about it, Tony, is to like be nice and try to find ways and also like look at yourself or whatever, then like sometimes even just like the straight conversation, like, you know, the next time it happens, like, look, you're putting me in a really hard position right now. You know, like just being that straight of like, I'm trying to like whatever, but like it doesn't work that you're late and I don't know what to do about it. Like, I don't want to have to let you go, but to be honest, if I don't see this, you know, changing, then that's going to have to be it. Right. So it's also using your intuition for when that kind of conversation, you know, because sometimes it's no longer about being nice. It's like, no, you know. So awesome. Good. And thank you guys for supporting each other. That's great. Tony, is that helpful? We got some things to work with here. Great. Awesome.
I can
Matthew.
add one last thing. I'm going to put a link in here, Tony, for the training I did a number of years ago. From one of the things from like having difficult conversations, that have a beer. Like beer is an acronym of behavior, effect, expectation, and results. And so having that like way to have that in their context in terms of, because I think one of the things you initially said is like how to like keep it out of getting into the nitty gritty and starting to like pick at someone as like a person, right? And so, you know, talking about like what is the behavior that they're doing, how does it affect the team, what is the expectations, and like what is, you know, kind of like what is the result of like where things are. And that's this has been a nice framework to like go about having those types of conversations.
Awesome. Thanks, Matthew. Awesome. Other questions? And Isaac, I don't know if you heard, but Luciano said he has the same challenge as you. So you guys got to connect. Is that what I heard? Is that the right thing that I heard, Luciano?
Yeah.
You guys both have the public. No, you should. You should link up.
When he mentioned in the last 5, you know, in that moment, then I get nervous. Sometimes happen with me as well.
And that skill of managing that, your anxiety and you goes up on stage and talk. This skill is so crucial for a leader. It just it just, you know, you make it or you simply
okay, so you guys
you're nobody or somebody.
Offline.
That 5 minutes it's display you as somebody or nobody.
Connect offline and both of you make a script for Thursday, and then
I was watch about the hypnosis, hypnosis that you are mentioning, and you know, I never had this problem before. I mean, long time back, I usually went to, you know, talking from people very easily. So, but later on, when you start having more, you know, tough meetings. Start creating this type of anxiety before meetings, because you sometimes depend of the meeting, right? It can be a big audience that we don't know anybody there. That can be, you know, a small audience that is a product, stuff like that.
Yeah. And regardless of that, it's just, you know, I didn't have like a fear of flying. And then slowly, like years ago, I started getting one, like it just came in. So, but then I did hypnosis on myself and then not an issue since. So it can just happen, you know, randomly.
Yeah.
So no use of analyzing it. Just make your script and see if it gets better.
Yeah, I'll
Awesome.
try. Thank you for the
Yeah,
tip.
definitely. Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys should
that-
connect about that. That's great.
That's
Awesome. I
absolutely
just want to make sure that we get to other people's stuff too. So other questions?
Mhm.
Yes. Hansel. Is it Hansel or Hansel?
Hansel.
Hansel.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something about hypnosis because when I listened to your podcast, it really intrigued me because I quit smoking with hypnosis, and it's 21 years now.
Woo, congrats. Cool.
And I kind of broke the rules because it was all these things about what triggers you, what, like you mentioned, which gas station, which hand, left hand, right hand. So all those things. And then one of the triggers was, but you go to a bar on the weekends with your friends, and then you start borrowing a cigarette, and then you start buying your own, and then you're back on the smoking thing.
Yep.
And so I said, not going to the bar this weekend. It's a friend's birthday party, but not going. I ended up going, but because I had just come with this mantra, I was able to sit there and not even ask for a cigarette and not, of course, I probably inhaled enough secondhand smoke, but the point I was trying to say was that the hypnosis in recent months has become again a very big part. You talked about NLP and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm curious if that is translatable also to things like, relationship episodes, or, things where we talked about 5 minutes before a speech or presentation getting into anxiety, but on the other side, triggers that lead you to react, with higher sense of emotion.
Definitely. Do you have an example that you're willing to share of what happens in relationships for you?
Yeah, I can. I mean, so I have an 8-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son, but the 8-year-old, we were going through a phase where she was probably looking for her own territory, and I was trying to be very authoritative and, just follow the rules. And, clearing up toys, and the toys were not cleared up. So I kind of cleared them myself, but, with a little bit of force.
Okay. Yes.
And,
Gotcha.
and that then doesn't go well all around, right? Because now the child reads your energy and they think, okay, I did something wrong. Everybody's angry. And then your wife gets angry, and then it's just a complete, it's like a whole wheel.
Yes,
So
it
that's
is.
kind of what I can share about one such.
Yeah, so I can offer you something on that. So
Yeah.
number one, it's normal to have emotions, especially when you have children around. So no point in beating yourself up when you lose your temper once in a while. Okay. And I'm very familiar. I work with a lot of parents on that vicious cycle. Okay. So if you were to know, Hansel, of what your belief was about yourself after you got angry, what would that be?
I would, after I got angry, you mean
Yeah.
what I'm saying to myself?
Just a belief that you have about yourself. Like, I'm a bad person. I'm a bad father.
Yeah,
I always make
failed.
mistakes. I failed. Good. Okay. So now we found that belief. So I'm going to walk everybody through this belief turnaround exercise. So everyone, I want you to write down something that you're believing very, like you really believe that it's true about yourself or about someone else. And just raise your hand when you have your belief, everyone. I failed is a good one for business owners. Can kind of, okay, got it. Okay, go ahead, actually type it in the chat. What's your belief? Really quick, everybody type it in the chat. Coming up short. I'm unmotivated. I failed my family. I'm not being heard. Benjamin, I might change that one to no one understands me, if that resonates. Okay. And the reason why is because our unconscious mind is developed in the first 0 to 10 years of our lives. So it's very like whatever an 8-year-old would say. So an 8-year-old wouldn't usually say like, I'm not being heard. It's just like, they don't understand me, right? So you want to like give yourself permission to be like a little kid, and I'm not good at communicating. It's like yours also, Nathaniel, might be no one understands me, or people can't hear. I don't know. It could be that. It could be I'm bad at communication. You trust your own intuition, but I have low emotional intelligence. So Carl, that might be like, I'm dumb. Right? Like you want to dumb it down, you know, to what it could be. Yep. I'm stubborn. Okay, good. I'm not having the drive to complete something. So Matthew, what does that mean about you if you don't have the drive to complete something?
Probably just like not finishing things, like starting things and then never finishing, and like not having, like kind of giving up at the first road, like kind of hiccup in the road, bump in the
Yes.
road.
Yes. And I'm just supporting you here with just, so it's like a flavor of like, I never finish what I start, or I suck at life, or something like that. Like I suck at life, or I don't know. It could be what you wrote, but like sometimes it's like something that's just even that much more like palpable of like, I can't be trusted could even be it if you never finish what you start. Anyway, you can play around with that. Okay. I repeat my mistakes, so therefore I'm an F up or something. Tejas. Anyway, I'm just giving you some feedback. I believe I'm unmotivated. That's a good one. I failed my family, not being heard. We talked about that, coming up short. Okay, let me see if I missed any other ones. No follow through. I'm not as smart as others. So then Dan, I would say that the opposite, it would be like, I'm dumb. And like, you want to be like what your inner critic would say, like, I'm dumb as F. Like, you know, whatever you say. Now, here's the fun thing about when we have these beliefs about ourselves, because it doesn't feel funny when we're believing them, but they are just beliefs, right? Because our entire existence is created of beliefs, right? Is that whatever your biggest fear that people are going to find out about you, and we all have one, right? Mine is like, I'm a bad person. You will do the complete opposite of that at 100% speed. So you will be like, you live your whole life to be a good person if your fundamental core fear about yourself is that, right? Or if it's like, I can't be trusted, then you will live your whole life and you will have the most integritous business, right? You will never go out of line, right? It's just every human being has it. So yes, and then we get to break free once we do what we're about to do. So I'm not good enough. Yep, that's a great one. Can keep it just as that is. Nathaniel. No follow through would be like, I can't be trusted, or I never finish what I start, just something like that. And I am not who I am. So yours could be like, I'm a fraud. Isaac, I don't know. I don't know. Just trying to like make them. Okay. So great work. All right. So who here has ever heard of like Byron Katie's belief turnaround, or has ever done belief work before? I think Zach talks about it a little bit. Okay, great. Well, we're going to jump in. Okay. So you're just going to answer these questions. Okay. So number one, with that belief that you have written down, is it true? And you're just going to write down yes or no. There's no right or wrong answer. The only wrong answer would be if it's not a yes or a no answer. Okay. Second question. Can you say with absolute certainty that it is true? Yes or no? There's no right or wrong answer. Okay. Good. Next question. When you believe that thought about yourself, what happens? So it could be like my brain starts going, I get emotional, I open up a bag of chips and start eating. How do you treat yourself when you believe that thought? And how do you treat others when you believe that thought? So you're really just painting the picture of when you think that thought and believe it, what happens. I isolate myself. I stop answering the phone. I don't make any business, whatever. Everybody got that? Okay. Now, next part. So who would you be without that thought? Imagine for a second, and this is like a feeling. I want you to actually imagine this. Imagine you cannot think that thought. Just disappears. You can put it in that hot air balloon and have it float away. Cut it away with a cord. Now go ahead and write in the chat, who would you be without that thought? Best version of myself. Awesome. Truly successful. Still me. Yep. And let's get into some feelings. Yep. Awesome. So Nathaniel, like confident, strong. So what would that feel like to not have that thought? Respected. Yep. Might be like I'd be more motivated without that thought. Be more inspired. I get back my body and my mind in the same piece, more productive, motivated, poised, and confident. Yeah, right? And can you feel that a little bit as you're just imagining it go away? Right? Really good. Now, next part, just write this down. I want you to write down, I forgive myself for buying into the belief that I am whatever you wrote. And as you're writing that, like, just give it a second to let that sink in, you know, like, I forgive myself for buying into that belief that I'm dumb or that I'm a bad dad or that I failed. Next part, the truth is, and then you can always start with the opposite. The truth is, I'm not a failure. The truth is, I'm not a bad person. And then write 2 more things that are true. Awesome. So who would be willing to share their forgiveness statement and the truth statements? Go ahead and mute yourself. Yep, go ahead. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll finish with you, Hansel. Great.
Since I started the train here.
Yeah, good. Yep. So why don't you actually take us from the top? So your belief was, go ahead.
Yeah, my belief was I failed my family.
Yep.
And I think this is true.
Yep.
But I'm not absolutely certain.
Really good. Yep.
And what happens is that I tend to sulk or mope or kind of look for justification.
Yep. Really good.
And without this thought, I would connect better with people in general.
Mm-hmm.
I forgive myself for buying into this belief that I failed my family. And the truth is, I'm not failing my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in fact a loving dad and husband.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
Yes.
And what's some evidence of that?
Well, they still talk to me.
They still talk to you. That's great evidence. I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else? Like,
Yeah,
else?
I've been
Mhm.
actually connecting much better recently. So, I've been already working on some of this, but this process was really kind of a good testament to
Yes.
that work.
Fantastic. Really good. Awesome. Let these questions be your best friends. I'm telling you. Okay. Because here's the thing, whatever you guys wrote down for like what happens when you believe that thought, you guys do that pattern all the time, right? Anyone recognize what you wrote down as being like, oh yeah, I do that a lot. Okay. It's always coming from you believing something that is disempowering. Okay. So when you notice, yep, it's self-fulfilling. Exactly, Derek, right? So it's noticing when you start doing those behaviors and then being like, oh, what am I believing right now? I'm believing that I'm a bad dad or I'm a bad employee or whatever. Take it through the questions, get yourself to forgive yourself and realize that I'm not that. Then you get your energy back and then you have the clarity to think clearly and make better decisions. Right. So the last step of this process is what actions do you guys feel inspired to take now? And you'll see that it's just there without all the other noise and it can, right? It's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go play with my daughter tonight, like that's it.
Yeah, I've been creating just a no agenda space. So she brings what she wants to the session for whether it's game, play, and we're not going to look at how untidy things are.
I love that. That's awesome. Great. See, that's the opposite of a failure of a dad. So way to go. You're the best dad of all time. Awesome, Hansel. Thank you. Great. Awesome. So we only have just a couple more minutes. Any final thoughts? Was this a helpful exercise for all of you? Yeah, really. It's like, make it a thing. So
I think it was.
yeah.
I was about to ask a question, but
Yeah.
literally we just pivoted right into this exercise, which kind of helped me. But it was going to be around motivation under a weak leader, and it totally is it is self-fulfilling. That I say I'm unmotivated because I have a weak leader, and then when I'm unmotivated, then I get my phone out and I just doom scroll or, lose focus at work and am not able to do it. So I'm gonna, instead of asking this question and dragging this out, I'm gonna practice this exercise and see what happens come Thursday.
I love it, Derek. Yep. And that's the homework I want to give all of you. I want you to do at least one, but try for 2 belief turnarounds per day. Okay. Until Thursday. All right. You can do one in the morning. You can do one in the afternoon. Like, doesn't matter. Right. Just run yourself through these questions. Okay. And then we'll come back and we'll check in on how you guys are feeling about that on Thursday and answer any follow-ups. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome work. Great to be
Can we,
with you all. Yep, Matthew.
Can we high level? I forgot to type it in the chat this time, and I was just writing down my answers, but not the questions. Like, do you
Yes.
have a link
So
or anything?
I'll give you guys this actually. So there's an app. It's called The Work.
Oh, thanks.
And I think it's just like he's got it. Okay, so go ahead and copy and paste that. Anyway, the app is called The Work, and I think it's like $1 or something like that. And it has the questions that we'll run you through on if you prefer on your phone. Give everybody a second to write all this down. Thank you, Ben.
The last place I need to work on this is at my phone.
Okay, good. Yep, he's trying to get away. You want to do pen and paper. I hear you.
That's the worst solution right now. You can get an app for that. Like,
that's the last thing that
that's the last
needs.
thing.
I got it. Yep. Looks like I got some head nods on that as well. Awesome. Does everybody have this down? Does anyone need another second? Everybody's good. Awesome. Okay, great. Well, thank you all. Awesome call. And we'll see you again on Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.